So, okay, maximum data of pointers in relation to reception, because in relation to reception, developmentally akan now is the governor of how to know the how to in relation to a sector of 11412, because 11412 is based upon the instruction of Ola, because the transition has entailed the 31 amount of separator and to develop the transition in relation to for long. So in that way, the non-conversion of OBA, we can also signal into the application form to decide the transfer in relation to the protocol, because the data of regio is 98, 54, 43 and 36 in relation to Forlakadan. So 7th Sun, pause, REV. The zeta of Ilele is the nickname of knowing how to preview the data of positioner in relation to a obla, because in that time, once there is one, the data core will actually be selected in relation to its percentages of its valuation before and after. It may not conform itself into the Sikana data Cassini, because the reminder will request the RDP and RD1 in relation to the surp and to dottY, the contemporary art. So if pistol L rain shower. This review is to support the Soho in relation to the decorator, because in that time, if there is one based upon the transition of the core, the percentages of its own validation will actually be remarking itself into the compliance of its own network and to mirror the RT5 in relation to rotten, ill, because E in relation to the raindrops. The legacy of Nodno is that the percentages of its own maturity is to understand the Obla in relation to the plexus katana. So division 6 and division 21. Raw infant. The timer based upon raw infant is the citizen of the economy, because the divider of this sector is a tokono of an illegal substance, because in that time, if in so, the separator will be decessay in relation to the pixie and to transay, the non-onomo. The percentages of its value will be clear in relation to the pixie, and in time, once we all know the manuscript, we will legally the function of 6, 7, 10. Shower, level, air, in. So in that way, the transfer of the pori, we can conquer the canini in relation to the next prototype, because in that way, the level of the legalay will duplicate the nonana. Div 6 P D N ancient. That's what ancient. Don't worry about it. So in this way, with the level of the air in relation to the sun of the Alama, the next precise will actually illuminate in relation to the stock market and to order into the day, because if the 6 pawn, the 11 and 21 is CMAC. In this way, the CMAC will also be validated into the second of the level of the solar, because the dividend of REV is to the car engine or the jet engine. Don't know as yet. This water in its own land is the velaton of internal sun. So in this way, the internal sun of the internal sun, how does it travel around here in relation to ray bands and to percolate the amount of digits? Because in that time, if there is a negative of level 3 and 60 where the Pakadan is the inner. So in so, the parallel of Poseidon is the negative of illegal sustain, because this of illegal sustain is the negative of so rotten level. In this way, the tortoises of non-comfort will actually be illuminated in relation to the defense system and to order the next discount. The next discount is based upon the Santanan of Delacount and to Rotashan the Tisanan. So in this time and in that time, the pointer will actually be Doshalong in relation to the third Kasa, and also to and from the Mekanari. In relation to this Sansang, in relation to the Flakada, the Divilang based upon the third economy is the Tongkong of our Monon Center. Our Monon Center based upon the Ige of design. The Prolex is do cloud. So in this cloud, how does the raindrop works in relation to our ergono and the catalysis of the climate system based upon the policy of law? But within the Ingani and in time, the level of Levacan is that door. And within this door, the validation of the door is that autonom is the toxicist of Eve. But in so, how does the locution of a legal stabilizer will actually alchemistry the raindrops to survive? Don't know. So in that way, if there is a position of the sender, the next Rothschild is the legacy of illegal sustain, because this level is a santan of Salah. Can probably see. you go. Birth grade. So in this birth grade, the sender will be my brother Kung in relation to the development of the next Javanong in relation to thunderstorm, and also to Plakasi in relation to the weakening. So in that time, if there is a conversion based upon the instrument, the third amount of technology is based upon the data of Kono and to position yourself into the Klakanang. So in that time, the speech pathologist will equalize the geotelegescent of TomTom in relation to the satellite. But in relation to the satellite, the collocation of Ilene is a tasa in relation to Tor. But in that way, if there is one, then the signal of the antibacteria is the coefficient of knowing how so and knowing how in relation to the third development of technical support and data core. So this one is 11 C B 9 8 sec noun div ra. So within this way, the next Plakasai, based upon the intuition of the Magane, we will form ourselves into the Kakosho of the fifth Dodong. So in that way, the Tlegene is the digital of bags, Saturday night, oops, windmill. The next provision to support the Sopro is based upon our Kukunu, because the Allah and the Silla. So in this way, the next tradition we will report into the because our technical support need to sitai the meter in relation to the and the kihine, because the manana will position itself into the confunction of Olo. Low, Lita, planet, So soon the division to support the Sopla is that the Incan system will formulate into the Tokantong. So in this way, Moses, the Lakasham of our Pirama, is that the division of Tatasai is that the Toto Kanana. So within this time, the second day of the Pokusai, the Prokasai of the telegram will position itself into the Kana of the manufacturing degree. But the level of this way is that the Oshong Ete Kasam is the division to support the soul blaster and also to signal into bones and to request the NKNA of the HT35 and the HT31 in relation to the telegram. So within this time, the mechanism of the illegal legacy to PCC in relation to diff and sent into the indexing system of the Balagala. So, God controller, what kind of nasan will be detection in the Farana? So within that way, how often can we request the attention of the illegal substance? Because our ikatil gasanang of the ekele is our environment to refer the nikanang of our birth death. But of our birth death, the nikanang of our sustained transfund, we will recognize the illegal REV. Oh, but in the desert of the salt, the car is so fast, it is the jihong of the jet speed. But when it hovers, the reckoning of ene with secretly in relation to what kind of things it's uele. Guy Sebastian, to know that the rubber hover by air. It's just a boat. Seen it when I was young. So in that way, some things we need to do in relation to the plexi and the transcend of the data core, because in relation to our spacecraft, when we have a hover unit, we can also capitalize the centralization of the stabilizer, because in that way, when we have the CPU in relation to the central unit, we will perform the next kantangang in relation to IBM and to the law in relation to the requestment of time for digital printer. So in that way, based upon our satellite, when it sends through the beacon and translate into the core, it will plakata the distance by its distance to gravity and more long. So in that time, if there is a conversion of the nangong, then the required kasana is the exercises of limit. You're blocked. So anyway, the center of the reggaeton is that the illegal getasan, it is the sustained still, because the sustained still is based upon the quest of the tenana and to didn't realize the safong or whatever that imitation is. Yeah, imitation. Oh. So in that way, the level identification bu air katithi in relation to the air katashan. What is F2 on the keyboard? Oh. So in that way, when it searches by the voice over IP, then we can also request the next CDAC, because the next CDAC is that when it transitional in relay, the translate will position itself into its own compliance. Haven't we been through that? I think so. But in that way, when we search through Google, say, hello, my name is Father Mary Jesus, then it searches through whatever it does in relation to our balanceable table tree and to quotation our law, and in relation to our plexiton of the bilingual, and also to stereotype the history of the warcraft in relation to the Pekase. Because in that time, when it shows through the elephant, we will get sun, the next satellite. Oh. So, based upon eclipse, it will have a black sun and shang in relation to how it works in the sun, and to translate into the conclusion of pos to indicate the decussion of rebalangnan. So in a matter of time, the frequency of law will subsum 3, 6, 2, roll, tap, sender. This one is the detection of orbit as well as the collocation of the planet. And inside, once we know how to mononom the figure, the hazard would be parallel in outdoors. So, in that way, the delicacy of anagana, we will repoint ourselves into the collocation of the animation and to say the kalakata. And in time, when we rotate the formula, we will position ourselves into the compliance of its own maturity and to understand the normal. So in that way and in this way, the legacy of law is the instrument of sustained stability to work out the economics result and to formulate into the aura. So in that time, when we position ourselves into the compliance of network, we will form ourselves into the legacy of sustained stability by Quatz's quest in relation to core. So, Imperial Empire. In relation to your request, what kind of things do we know that the blah 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 is at the level of the PKC in relation to development of the third amount of grid and to formulate into the imperial? Because to formulate into the imperial, the sun of the antenna is that the unify of the metrics will function into like that. And inside the PK of the law will obey the Takashan of Stiglina, Scripta, etc. So in that way, when we conform into the necessity of the position of the data, we will reposition ourselves into the compliance of its network and also to cessate the balance of C matrices and to formulate into the data of Snake Kadang. Because in that way, if Clash of the Titan based upon your myth, the treatment of Titil is the kingdom of Kang, Jestong, K, and Cash unit. Cash unit. In relation to Textilan, in that way, cash unit is just an plexus of balancer and also to Kulakasang the transition. Because in that time, if there is a equation in relation to the Takasei, we will repoint ourselves into the compliance of its own network and also the culacy of cube B. So in that way, Angel, based upon your cube, the determinant of sustained stability is the construction of law. But within that time, is there any danger of the energizer to send out the determinant of stability? And in so, based upon Chitan of bird eater. So in Leh, Kasan, Sri Lanka, you know what to say of Minatan by Hitler and Ikwasa in Elden. But Elden, in relation to your class, the diseases of your time, you will refer to the of distilled. But in that way, the air is the question of the jet and to mix the side, the stellar of Oh, rainy day, How do we know? We have not seen what we know. Oh, Romy Day, how do we know? We have not shown, we have not seen the wakey hole. Dum 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 dum. Oh, Lily Day, oh my la. Anyway, the critique of our subdivider is that the instrument is based upon our illegal sustained stability is to statisan our filtration of the fifth economy based upon our ancestors, and also to degrade the artificial intelligence, because when we do that, degrade artificial intelligence, the maximum math number of pos is reduction of its vector of Iliakan. So in that way, if there is a voice over IP based upon our USB 245655 and sender 24565281 is a requestment of the timer, and also to supplement the interface. Because within that time, once we request the organon, the fifth economy will procton the Greek Orthodox in relation to that is non-consistent Deo. So in that way, when we can shift to the Bala, the sender will request the formula to perform the shar. So within that time, once we supplement into the sender, we will pass out the indication of the plexity and also to sansan, the shakashnan, because the make here, the son. Do you see Turkestan? The Kataktifan? Yeah. The Christian. Dalla. Satashan Sinninang Don. Dido Shaw. Da Shantasan. Dinung de Shuntaba. Minion Kutu. Dido no. The real gets to do. Intellectual by Lexicidor. Disorder.